Welcome back, you guys. So I have Susan Gates on today, and she is a transformation and soul purpose coach dedicated to helping high achievers break free from stress and reconnect with joy. So, like, literally so aligned for this podcast. It's insane. She's also a Rise Summit speaker, and I swear, like, every time I introduce a Rise speaker on the podcast, I'm like, it just y'all are so aligned, like, with my mission and with what I like to talk about and all of this. I just found the most amazing women to come to speak at the summit. So quick little plug, that link is below. If you haven't got your free ticket yet, just go and get it. But Susan, thank you so much for coming on today. So happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you and actually get to talk with you face to face.
It's so fun. I want to just have you, like, if you want to dive in. I always love, I know it's like the most cliche to start, cliche way to start a podcast episode is like to talk about how you got to where you are and all that stuff. But I want to
Mhm.
know because, like, helping women transform and, you're like soul coach Susan. So it's like,
Yep.
like, how did you get there? Like what caused, like, what's the story?
Oh my gosh, that is a long and twisting story, I guess we'll say. But yeah, I actually started out, in the corporate world. I went to school for engineering. That was kind of a plot
Wow.
twist too, because I thought I was going to be a doctor growing up, but
Oh my gosh.
ended up going into engineering. I did product engineering for I don't even know, like almost 15 years, and it was great when it started. It kept me interested. I was like learning a bunch of new things, traveling to, and but then eventually, I think it was like 2018, 2019, I hit a wall, and I was like,
Mm.
I this isn't really aligned with me anymore, and I don't really know what I want to do. So I just kept doing it and kept searching for other jobs, other corporate jobs, and nothing really seemed to fit. And it really wasn't until I think it was 2021.
Mhm.
Um, I I really hit a wall then. I was completely burnt out. At the time, the job that I had was really should have been assigned to three people, not just me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was rough. But me being me, the go getter, and like I can do it,
Of
I just
course.
charged through, and that was a mistake. But I ended up so burnt out, and I realized that something needed to change. I had basically like a panic attack on a Saturday morning, and that's kind of what led me down this whole path. And I went on like a spiritual retreat and had like my big awakening then. And then from there, things just kind of started to fall into place in a sense. Like shortly after that, I got pregnant. I had my first
Oh.
son. After that, I ended up finding out about like a soul coaching program. And I was like, that sounds interesting. Maybe I'll try that. And then I did that and decided, this is what I really want to do. I love talking to people. I love helping them. I love listening to their stories and just,
Yeah.
helping them live more happier lives. And so that's kind of what led me down that path. I've added a few things to my toolbox since then. At the summit, I'll be speaking about breathwork, and so that's one of
Hey.
them. And among that, I also do astrology and all sorts of other things. But it's like it's been this interesting journey of just kind of coming back into what really makes me happy. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. I love this. Like, breathwork, astrology, all of these fun things. Like, this is so
Yeah.
much fun. Can you tell us, like, how you got to breathwork? Was that from that retreat or did you find it like much later?
So the first time I was introduced to breathwork was in the retreat, and I talk about it a little bit in the summit. But like I I never heard of breathwork before that.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't even know that was part of the retreat, or
Yeah.
I think I did, but it didn't register what it was. And it was actually a holotropic breathwork session, and so it was pretty intense, but
Yeah.
also incredibly mind blowing. And so I I've never really been the type of person to be into like hallucinogens or like plant medicine or anything like that. And so having that experience and knowing that like wow, that's the power of just using your breath, it was just completely mind blowing. And so I knew I wanted to incorporate that into my life later on. Couldn't do it when I was pregnant, but uh, I eventually ended up signing up for a certification. And so I was like, you know what? this is really helpful for me. So I'm just going to do it because I really want to help others with it too.
I love a good breathwork session. Like I feel like it just unlocks like
Mm-hmm.
anything that's like that somatic component, right, of
Mm-hmm.
healing. It's just like it unlocks something inside and it's I don't know, it's like you don't have to think your way through all of the
Mm-hmm.
healing because I get so in my head and like I'm
Yeah.
sure as an engineer too, right? It's like you have that training, right? Like where
Yes.
you're analytical, you're thinking things through.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like then doing a good breathwork session, you can unplug from that
Mm-hmm.
and truly just get into your body and like your body just does the work.
Yes. Yes. And it's amazing too. Like, I love that you brought up that you're an overthinker because I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
And so it's like traditional meditation practices, I can do them, but it requires a lot more focus than I think is probably needed.
Yeah.
And so doing things a little bit differently, like walking meditations or going out in nature is like what my thing. But then having the breath work as another option is also amazing when I can't go out for a hike or can't get that time to go
Yeah.
out there. And so yeah, it's been
I love that you just brought up like the walking meditations and hiking and all of that. I feel like that's like how I started, like the very beginning of kind of like a healing journey, if you will,
mm-hmm,
was really like a lot of like Tich Nhat Han, like anything, like that's how I learned kind of like walking meditations and
mm-hmm,
just anything that he would like teach, right?
mm-hmm,
And just unplugging, like getting outside, like really just away from the devices, away from work, away from
yes.
thinking too much, just trying to like really, I don't know, just rest, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. I have notoriously been terrible at resting.
yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I
because it's like
don't
that overachieving mentality, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like this constant need to feel like you're proving something or proving your worth in
Mhm.
a sense. And resting is not often considered like one of those things that,
Not allowed.
help you in that. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
being able to rest and being able to like really just come back into yourself has been a big part of my own personal journey and still continues to be. I mean, it's that part of you that you still kind of have to work with and get into more of a rhythm. And
Yeah.
so just working on that with breathwork.
Did this become kind of like, I know everybody listening, like where I was once in my life, where we're just like, what is the magic, like secret sauce? Like, what's the magic pill? Like, did this happen overnight? Like, what is the one thing I can do? So I want to ask you, like, was this something that was very gradual for you, this change in your life towards, more of a happy lifestyle and just inviting more happiness and pleasure and relaxation into your life? Was it something that you kind of just woke up one day and you were like, whoa, like over the past, period, whatever the amount of time, like X amount of time, I guess I've been working towards this. And like suddenly I feel like I'm kind of here. Or
Mhm.
was it something that, happened a lot quicker where you were like, oh, I just started breath work today and I just feel amazing and like never looking back?
I wish I could say it was the latter, where it was like, a switch flipped. I mean, the only time in
Yeah.
my life where I can recall like a switch flipping like that was when I hit my burnout point, which is
Okay.
not a great like point.
Yeah.
But as far as like finding the breath work and finding how all these different practices can help me, that's definitely been a gradual process. I think a lot of things kind of evolve slower than some people may like, especially me, especially if you're, used to trying to go out there and push and get things done and all that. And this was one of those things that, the pieces kind of fall into place over time. And this was one of them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me. Okay. You already kind of did, but I want to get like deeper into like the pieces, if you will. Like,
Sure.
how so I know you started with a retreat and then kind of did you just find yourself after this burnout period getting outside more and then you did start practicing more, like what did it really look like?
Yeah. That's a great question. And I have to recount how everything kind of played out,
I
but
know, and that's the hard part because it
yeah.
happens so gradually. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to like be like, how did I really get here? But I know for everyone listening, it really is just like, how do I do this?
Yeah, yeah. So really, like when I hit that point in my life, I think it was either late February, or early March, 2021. I knew I just needed to get out of my house, and so we ended up driving up north. We went to out in nature, and that was like when we finally got out there. I was like, this feels really good. I need to be in nature more often because I live near a big city and there's some, but not very much there. And so I started making it a priority so that every week I would go take a hike. And I just started this ritual of me and my dog. We would go for a hike on every Saturday, and that's actually what led me to the retreat, to be honest, because I started to love hiking, and I was like, and then my sister and my mom started talking about Sedona, and I was like, oh, they have amazing hiking there. I was like, that would be
So
cool. I could
good.
do that, like kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think all these little things kind of lead you to the next thing in a sense. And so did that retreat and, came back feeling a lot better with where I was in life and kind of starting to understand myself a lot more. And then that led me down, reading different books or learning different things. I took a class on, honing your intuition. And then that led me to the soul coaching course and then one thing after the next. And so it's been pretty interesting seeing how it's all unfolded.
I love that because like that's literally my story. Like it's crazy. I swear I would keep going to this one like used bookstore for some reason. I
Mm.
would always go to this one and I swear the books would like fall off the shelves. Like I swear
Ooh,
it was so crazy. And I would, and I'd read, I'm like, well, that must be a sign. Like, let
yeah.
me read that book. And then like that book would talk about something and I would try that thing and like on to the next. And like yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like being open and just trying all of these new things. And if
Yeah.
it works, you like keep doing it. If it doesn't, you just don't.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you said that because like it's the way I like to describe it is like breadcrumbs, right? Like you get
Yeah.
these little breadcrumbs that will lead you down the trail and it's just a matter of you kind of taking that initiative and trying it and then seeing how it feels. I mean, it's not going to be a perfect fit 100% of the time,
Mhm.
and that's okay too because then you learn a little bit more about what is aligned for you and what's not. And so I've definitely been down like some paths where I'm like, I don't know if that's for me, and that's okay too.
Mhm.
But yeah, just trusting yourself and trying it.
Yeah, and trusting yourself. I love that. Okay, talk to me about, the happiness component because like how like it brings more joy into your life and how
Mhm.
you noticed yourself changing with the changes.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting because it's like I think, like most people, happiness to me felt like it was something that I would get after I achieved something.
Hmm.
So after I reached some milestone, and that was really part of my breaking point too, was like I'm not achieving anything. Like what am I going to do next? And so like kind of coming back into myself and doing all these different things, I realized, hey, I'm really happy actually doing these things like going for a hike, reading a book, learning, talking to people. And I realized that like happiness doesn't come from these external goals. It comes from living in the day to day and doing the things that really bring you joy. And so it's really kind of helped shift that in my mind and make me feel like, I'm living life and this is what we came here to do and I'm happy.
It's crazy how we are born, right? And we
Mhm.
don't have all of these like preconceived notions. Like we're just born and we're just happy and we just like
Yeah.
live our life. And then somewhere along the way, like all of the pressure starts to come in
Mm.
and and especially for us, like wanting to achieve everything and the pressure of that. And then just
Mhm.
thinking, I don't know where that thought gets instilled. I think it just depends on,
Yeah.
individualized of like the more that I achieve, the happier I'll become. The more
Yeah.
like titles I have and the more purses I have. And like I was
Yeah.
talking to another one of the speakers and we were talking about like literally cars, like was my joke. I'm like once you have like the fifth Mercedes, like you're gonna be
Mhm.
happy. Like, no, I need another car.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, like it's just the achievement, all the external things. And like
Mhm.
those really don't bring the happiness that we think
Yeah.
that they are going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
And it's
hated that.
interesting.
Like, oh, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I think it's interesting too because it's like, yes, we all have like these benchmarks, I guess we'll say, of
Mhm.
what it means to be happy or live a good life or whatever. And it varies so much for different people too, depending on their upbringing or whatever thoughts were
Yeah.
kind of poured into their minds. And but then also when it comes down to it, like to people like what ultimately makes people happy too. They all kind of have a similar theme, but there's also something individual about it too. Like I mean, I think a lot of people on the spiritual path kind of get sucked into the mindset of, it has to be all spiritual. But my big thing too is like part of being spiritual is actually living life too. And doing all these things that are considered earthly or whatever. And that's okay too. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, like we can get so rigid sometimes with it,
Hmm.
and it's like no, it's okay to just go back to like just being
Hmm.
back to that state that we were born, like where
Yeah.
before the pressure, just like back to like just living our life.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And I love how all of these different, like through soul coaching, right? Like
Hmm.
I'm sure that you work with clients to come back into like, well, I would love for you to talk about it because I don't want to
Yeah.
assume, but I'm
Sorry.
just thinking that it comes into like, making your soul happy again and like coming
Hmm.
back into like that alignment of like
Hmm.
who you really are and who you came here to be rather
Hmm.
than like all of again like the external pressures. But do
Yeah.
you want to touch on that and tell us a little bit about, what that is?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because I think when I first like took on that title, we'll say
Mhm.
I kind of had a hard time describing it because it's not as common as like life coach or
Yeah.
personal coach or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, what it really is just kind of coming back to your true self in a sense, and knowing that you yourself have the guidance within you. And so like my goal when I'm doing like soul coaching sessions is not to instill my own beliefs in them because I have my own beliefs. There are things that I was brought up with too, and I never want to sway somebody that way. But like it's being able to try to get them to see like you had it all within you this whole time and guiding them back to that. And so it I guess it can become challenging for people who are overthinkers or who maybe don't necessarily come back into their bodies as much too. If they're always in their head, it's easy to kind of gloss over. And it's happened so many times too, where I'm talking to somebody and the answer is right there. They literally just said it, but
Yeah.
they didn't realize it or they didn't take the time to fully feel into that. And so a lot of the times it's just kind of guiding them back to that, right?
Yeah. I feel like I'm all over the place with my questions, but
Good. All
do
good.
you would you touch on how astrology like comes into play here too? Because I feel like when
Absolutely.
I started to like pay attention to, like a little bit more like the surface level parts of my chart or
Hmm.
something, or like even just, the moons and like moon signs and what's
Hmm.
happening and like the phases, I feel like that really helped me a lot too, just to
Yeah.
come back into myself.
Yes, I 100% believe that astrology is an amazing tool to use to come back to yourself because it's literally like, I consider it like the blueprint of your soul in a sense. Like, this is
Yes.
like what you came here to experience. This is likely what you'll experience in terms of challenges and opportunities for growth and, even luck or things that will kind of come upon you. And it's not always 100% right. Like, you yourself have to take on that opportunity or whatever that comes your way, like we had talked about before, right? And I just think it's a little bit like a permission slip too,
Mhm.
because whenever I'm doing like an astrology reading, none of the information that I'm saying is new to anybody because they always kind of knew it internally. They just
Mhm.
needed it validated in a sense. This is actually me. This isn't just, everybody else is like this. No, this is me.
Yeah.
And I think that that gives you a little bit more freedom to really express those sides of yourself. And one of the things that I've really kind of been leaning towards recently is, astrocartography. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but
No.
oh, okay.
I'm like,
I'm
what
so
is
excited to
this?
tell you about this.
Oh my
So
god.
it essentially is like the idea that your birth chart is mapped out over the world in a sense. And so if you think about like where your planets are placed on your birth chart, that shifts depending on where you go in the world. And
Okay.
so different areas of the world will hold different planetary energies for you. And so it'll come out in a completely different way. And so I've really loved this because a lot of it is helping you see more of yourself
Wow.
by experiencing different things in other places in the world. So yeah, it's fascinating.
Wow. Okay, so I need all the information of how I can get a reading for yeah. My husband needs to get a reading from you because like he grew up in India and he just came here and he's like
Amazing.
he literally was just telling me he's like I feel like everything's off. Like everything is
Yeah.
really off.
Mm.
So, oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll have to send me the link to like how we signed up for
Absolutely.
that and I'll put it in the show notes and I will sign up. Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible, honestly. And I think like I just had my cousin came back from India, and she has several major lines going through India, and just the things
Whoa,
that she was talking about, I'm like, yep, it's because of that line. Yep, it's because of that line. And
that is so
it's so
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I just like want to nerd out on this all day. Like I want to like look at
It's a
this. This
fun
is so
rabbit hole.
cool. Oh my God, everybody needs to get this done. It's just really fun.
It is.
See, I love that. Like it's so cool how much we can learn. And I feel like the more that we learn about ourselves, the happier we are too,
Mm-hmm.
because we just start to like you said, it's like giving the validation. It's
Mm-hmm.
like just that full permission slip and the breath of like fresh air or like the release that we get when we
Yeah.
have that permission and that validation to just be.
Yes.
Like it's
Yes.
cool, you know? It's totally fine.
I I love it. I think it's like, and whether you use astrology or human design or numerology or whatever, like all of them do the same sort of thing, right? It brings you back to you, and I fully believe in it as being a tool for that. I don't know that I necessarily subscribe to like it ruling your life and you need to do things when these
Sure.
certain transits happen or whatever, but
Yeah.
I think it's helpful for understanding maybe what you're going through, but I think you still have that ability to choose how you want to react to that or how you want to utilize that energy. So, yeah, it's I love it.
So cool. Thank you so much for, for all of this. I want to first ask you like
Mhm.
where we can find you, all of
Yeah.
that, and then we're going to have our happiness challenge question. So we'll
Okay.
leave everybody with a little challenge.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram or Threads. I'm more active on Threads lately, but at Soul Coach Susan. And then I have my website, avoiding-average.com. And then I also have my podcast, Avoiding Average. So you can find me on any of those places.
I love it. I'll make sure it's all linked below. And then, yeah, so everybody has to, do a little happiness challenge for the day. So, like, what would you have everyone do just, for the rest of today?
Okay.
It's the hard question.
I know, I know. I think the what I would challenge is to take a moment and just fully be present. Just notice whatever's going on around you. Notice, either whether it's by sight, by sound, by feeling, and notice what things like kind of light you up or what make you smile. And those are usually the clues, I think, that help lead you back to yourself or help lead you to those moments of happiness.
I love it so much. Thank you again, just so, so much. And everybody just check in with us. Tag us on Instagram. Let us know how, this happiness challenge, being present today, how it makes you feel.
Yeah. Thank you, Audrey.